Hi everyone, my name is Mark Corpus and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about concussions related to physical activity. But before I get into it, I'm going to tell you guys a story about something that happened to me my freshman year. So all throughout high school, I played soccer, and I remember my very first game was at Redmond High School, and I was super excited to play with my new teammates and try to impress the coach. And everything was going fine until I went up for a header in the very last minute of the game and caught an elbow to the side of the head. And I collapsed and fell to the ground, and I was dazed for the next couple minutes because of the injury. I went to school that next Wednesday, and I actually had to end up going home early after my first period math class because I couldn't think, my thoughts were really scrambled, and I couldn't digest any of the information that was being presented to me, which was kind of weird because I'm usually good at math in the first place. I went to the doctor that following weekend. I ended up getting diagnosed with a concussion, and I had to miss the next 2 preseason matches along with the next 2 weeks of training. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have participated in sports and physical activity, and injuries like this can happen when you least expect it. Trauma to the brain caused by physical activity can have negative consequences and are sometimes unavoidable. We're going to be talking to you guys about what happens when you get a concussion and some of the consequences of getting multiple concussions and some things you can do to prevent them from happening in the first place. So concussions are defined as an injury to the head that causes you to lose some kind of basic function, and they can be caused by 2 things. The first thing is a blow to the head, which actually causes the brain to hit into the side of the skull and bruise some of the tissue inside of your head. And the other thing that can happen is a whiplash, which is a drastic change in head position in a very short amount of time, which causes tears in the brain tissue. This, coupled with chemical imbalances, can induce symptoms such as headaches, dizziness, and a hard time focusing. Recovery time from this kind of injury can usually last from 2 weeks up to more than a month, depending on how severe it is. But what happens after your second, third, or even your 4th concussion? Symptoms usually get worse and are more noticeable. You're more likely to lose consciousness at the time of injury and more likely to lose a wider array of basic functions, such as focus in my case. Also, there's a lot of ambiguity in this field of science, but studies show that the more concussions you have in your lifetime, the more likely you are to demonstrate symptoms that are dementia-like. Players that play harsh contact sports such as football, lacrosse, and rugby are more likely to develop these symptoms. And in 2017, the New York Times released an article in which 111 deceased NFL players had this kind of degenerative issue. Now, there are ways to prevent this from happening in the first place. Yes, refraining from physical activity is the best way, but that would lead to a very unhealthy lifestyle since exercise is very important. Helmets, which are already mandatory in sports such as football and lacrosse, are ways to prevent head injuries, but they're also used in daily things such as biking and rollerblading that can help prevent you from getting hurt if you fall. Another way of preventing this kind of issue is from practicing proper form in sports-specific techniques, such as heading a soccer ball in soccer or practicing body-only tackling instead of head-on collisions. To wrap it up, concussions come with a lot of baggage in terms of health risks, and there are a lot of ways to prevent them. And in no way do I want to deter you guys from participating in exercise because, as I said before, it's extremely important to everyone's lifestyle. But by presenting this information to you, I'm hoping that you can all be a little bit more aware in participating in physical activity. So thank you for listening.